So I'm actually going on holiday in a few days, and I thought it'd be really interesting to show the entire process of just preparing the pets and preparing for someone to come look after them, because I get questions all the time asking, what do you do with your pets when you go on holiday or vacation? And the honest answer is I have not had a holiday vacation in the 6 or so years I've owned rats and mice, so this is going to be a first for me because I've been away for a couple of days here and there, but there's always at least one of us here looking after them. We've not had like an entire week away in about 6 years, so it's definitely overdue, but my dad is coming to look after them, and I thought I'd show you the entire process of just preparing for that. So as I said, it is my dad that's coming to look after them. Thanks, Dad, if you're watching this. And although he's not mega animal obsessed in the way that I am, he does like animals and he watches these videos enough to know a fair bit about what animals I have. So the main reason really that I picked him to come and look after them is because for whatever reason, he is the only other person besides me and my boyfriend that Hubble, my cat, actually gets along with. So that was the main reason that I selected him to come and look after them. But for whatever reason, whether you're picking a family member or a friend or you're hiring a pet sitter, it's a really, really good idea, and I don't recommend not doing this, and that is to have them over beforehand, like a week before, just to kind of walk them through and talk them through what you expect from them. When I was actually a professional pet sitter as a job, I wouldn't take any jobs without doing a meet and greet beforehand, so make sure you arrange something like that, especially if it is a stranger coming into your house. And also if you are going to hire a pet sitter, make sure they have insurance, and also make sure that they have experience with the animals you keep. So most pet sitters have experience with dogs and cats, but not rodents or reptiles or exotic pets, so make sure you're finding one that has that experience just in case. So my dad already came last week to show him everything he had to do, and also I have already gone ahead and cleaned the rats out because it needed doing, because they are still technically in introductions, and I'll talk more about that in the rest of the video. But let's get back to me cleaning the rat cage and putting the rats back in. So the rats are just in half the cage at the moment. I'm going to keep them in this whilst I'm away because they are technically still in introductions, just in the later stages, and I do think giving them this entire cage would be fine because they've not had any fights in weeks, and if they had any signs of issues I probably would just separate them just to be safe because I don't want my dad to have to break up any rat fights, but they've been perfectly fine together, so I'm keeping them just in half the cage just to minimise any chances of fighting, because with male rats at least, sometimes the more space you give them does increase the chances of them having scuffles and fights. So it also works out quite well this way because I have set up this part of the cage that they don't have access to. I put bedding on the bottom, and if there is any signs of any fighting or injuries, he can just pull all of this out and then separate them into 2 groups just in case. Okay, the rats are done. The mice are done. I just need to do the reptiles and the inverts. Not much needs doing, I'm just going to spot clean them, take out any poop and stuff, so that's not going to take me too long. And then just make sure that Herbal has everything that he needs in a really obvious place. So Hubble's food cupboard is well stocked up, and then we've also got all of his ball toys here next to the cat biscuits, and then this is his timer feeder. So this is by Catmate, and there is nothing in it at the moment. It does have like bowl things that go in and also an ice pack, but they are out at the moment because I've been using this on and off with him just to get him used to it, because he is scared of everything. Sorry if you can hear my washing machine. He is scared of literally everything, so I've been trying to like acclimate him to this just in case my dad is going out during one of his meal times or the days that we're leaving or coming back. This should come in quite handy, so really glad that I bought this. Okay, so now I'm going to make individual lists on just the basics of caring for every single animal on a daily basis, and I think doing it this way is going to be easier than having a big master list that you have to then keep referring back to and reading the entire thing. So I'm going to do it species by species, starting with Hubble, my cat. So for Hubble, he has one can of wet food in the morning and then also another one in the evening, and that I just feed on a plate or a bowl from the cupboard that then goes into the dishwasher. And annoyingly, he does have a water fountain, and that actually broke this week. We've been trying to fix it, but we don't know what's wrong with it. So he has got water in a bowl that he is probably not going to touch, but we can't fix his fountain, so that's going to have to be his water source. And then when it comes to enrichment, he has various different puzzle toys, enrichment toys, and for that we just use a high quality dry cat food, just so he's not having too many treats. But the ones that are probably the easiest and also keep him the most occupied are things like his foraging balls. He's got two of those because one of them will always go missing, and then also his like button feeder thing that he has to press a button, then run downstairs and get the treats. Those are going to keep him the most occupied, so those are the ones I'm mostly focusing on. Then I've just written down that he mostly likes to play in the evenings, and my dad knows exactly what he likes to play with because he has seen us play with him a bunch of times. And then for his litter tray, I've just written down that he's doing every single day and scooping into a container, which this is like a litter locker. I don't think it's called that, but it's like a litter locker that you basically just put all of the used cat litter in. Probably doesn't even need emptying. I'll empty this before I go, but that is pretty much the basics when it comes to Hubble. So when it comes to the rats, I'm just keeping it very, very simple. I don't expect anyone that's coming to look after my animals to do everything that I do with them on a daily basis. So just keeping it very, very simple so I don't overwhelm anyone or give them too much to do. So really important to note how many animals are in each enclosure, just in case they're not entirely sure, and they can check and make sure any haven't escaped or any haven't died. So I've written there's 5 rats in the cage. Then when it comes to their food, I just put 1 scoop in a mug of food in the top white box every day in the evening. Mine are used to being fed in the evening, but whenever anyone has a spare chance to do it, and scatter fed on the bedding. Bonus points to my dad because he already knew they had to be scatter fed, so he does listen when he watches these videos. But I've also put make sure they have clean water in the bowl and the bottles too. And then I just put treats on the windowsill if you feel like it. Just watch your fingers because most of mine do snatch and it can really hurt. And then just a bonus note, so it can be really helpful to not describe your pets by name, just in case the person looking after them doesn't remember or they're not familiar with them. Describe them by their appearance. So the one with red eyes will try to escape if not careful. That is Crumpet. As soon as you open this door, he is up and out, so make sure to not turn your back on him because otherwise he's going to be free roaming for the entire week. So when it comes to the mice, pretty similar to the rats, there are 4 mice in the enclosure, and I've said to my dad you probably won't see all of them all at once. Just make sure generally you're seeing different ones on different days, and you mostly see them around 8 PM onwards. That's when they start to wake up and move around and you're most likely to see them. Then when it comes to their food, I put 1 small half handful of food. Not a very precise measurement. I probably should get something to make it easier for people, but that is also in one of the white tubs, and that is every single day, and that is also scatter fed. Then I've also just put make sure they have clean water in their bowl and also their bottle, and I have noted for the bowl that it does go down a lot quicker than the rat's one because it is of course a smaller bowl. So that is pretty much it for the mice. Not trying to overcomplicate anything, just putting down the basics. So for the reptiles and the invertebrates, I put them all on one page because they don't really need that much doing whilst I'm away. I have said that I'm away for a week, but it's not an entire week, so I'm going to do most of their maintenance and their feeding and stuff before I go, and then also when I get back. So for my snake Rue, I'm going to feed her just before I go, and then she also just has to have clean water, fresh water in her water bowl, and the plants take more care than she does. They're going to need watering every couple of days, so I've just put do that midweek. Then for my leopard gecko Orbit, again I'm going to try to feed her before I go, and she is quite picky. She doesn't tend to eat every couple of days like most leopard geckos. She is quite difficult to get her to eat, so I'm not even going to attempt that or write that down. I'll just do that when I get home, and she'll be fine because she doesn't tend to eat that often anyway, and she just needs clean water, and that does go down pretty quick. That needs filling up every day because it just evaporates so quickly. Then for my giant African land snail slushie, I've just put vegetables from the fridge, and I've already shown my dad where to get those. And I put feed midweek because I'm going to again do that before I go, and then also as soon as I get back. So every few days is going to be about midweek, and then also need spraying every day, 85 to about 90% humidity. Then lastly for my millipede jubbly, I've just put spray every few days, just because otherwise it does get a bit too humid, and that needs to be around 75% humidity. So that is almost everyone. There is also one more pet that you guys haven't met yet that I do need to film one out for, but I'm going to go around and stick these either on their enclosures or next to their enclosures for things like the rats that will pull this in, and that makes it really accessible and easy to see what needs to be done. Prepared for. I would love to say that I'm finished for the day, but I need to clean the rest of this mess behind me and then also tackle the rest of my house. So I hope you guys have enjoyed watching, and it's been helpful if you're going away anytime soon and you weren't too sure what to do with your rats, your mice, your other pets. I hope this has been insightful. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week when I'm back from my holiday. Bye!